Hey everybody, Movie Reviewer Next Door here, and I'm back with another review. And this time I am reviewing Mechanic Resurrection. This is a 2016 action thriller directed by Dennis Genzel, and it stars Jason Statham, Jessica Alba, Tommy Lee Jones, Michelle Yeoh, and Sam Hazeldine. In this film, Arthur Bishop thought he had put his murderous past behind him when his most formidable foe kidnapped the love of his life. Now he is forced to travel the globe to complete three impossible assassinations and do what he does best, make them look like accidents. So, what did I think of Mechanic Resurrection? Well, as I've always thought, I think this is a big step up from the original. Well, I mean, the first one, since this one's a remake. And I like that in this film they fixed a lot of my issues with the first. But let me get with the cast first. Jason Statham plays Arthur Bishop, again the mechanic from the first movie. He returns. I think he does another great job. He knows what to do in these types of roles, and yeah, he does what he does best: kick ass, and he's very charming as well. Jessica Alba plays Gina, a mysterious woman that crosses paths with him. He kind of falls in love with her, and then she gets taken hostage. Jessica Alba is an actress I've never been super big on. I would say her best acting performance is in a film called Awake, where she actually gets to do a lot of emotional acting. Um, and by the way, Awake is one of my favorite films of all time. If you're going to watch that movie, go into it blind and just don't do anything else. Just watch it. It's only like 84 minutes. But in this film, I think she does a good job. She didn't really her acting didn't bother me here. She's usually kind of known as that like pretty woman, and I know that's not the reason she went out of acting was because she's bad, but I'm glad that she's doing what she wants to now. Um, Tommy Lee Jones plays Max Adams, one of the targets. He's not really in the movie that long. He's more of an extended cameo. But he's doing an interesting thing, and I liked him in the film. Michelle Yeoh plays May, a dear friend of Jason's, or excuse me, Arthur's. She's also kind of an extended cameo. I do wish that she got to be in some of the action, but whatever. She still does a good acting job. And Sam Hazeldine as Raya Crane, basically a former adversary, now nemesis of Statham. I think while he's not like a super original concept for a villain, something happened in their past and now he feels he has to pay. He feels Arthur has to pay for it. It's not original, but I thought it was a step up from the last film's just evil corporate bad guy. But overall, this film just ticked all the right boxes for me. It this film has the same budget as the well, this film has the same budget as the first, which is 40 million, which again, for a big balls to the wall action-packed movie is not an insane amount of money. This film does have more well-known actors in it than the first, but I don't think that hampered the action really. I will say, if I have one complaint with this film, it does use a bit too much green screen or CGI at times. There's some kind of questionable looking CGI in small moments. For the most part, a lot of the stuff looks practical, but in order to extend a lot of these sets, they are using CGI and green screen. And I did watch the behind the scenes, so I do know which scenes that are green screened. There are some really good bits of green screen and CGI. There's a bit in like a ship bunker, kind of like in a Tomorrow Never Dies, um, where they CG'd the walls, and I didn't even notice that. Um, Even the bit near the beginning, the first action scene, that green screen didn't take me out of it. Like, I knew it was green screen, but it wasn't so bad that it took me out of it. I do wish this film tried to do a bit more, like, matte painting. or try to do a bit better green screen work. But again, this is a director who doesn't usually do action. And I did want to touch on that because Dennis Genzel, I have not seen his other films yet. He's done 3 films that I'm aware of. There is Before the Fall, or Napola, which is apparently a German, like, Nazi drama type of thing. It also looks gay. I I don't. I mean, just the poster alone, both of the actors look very fruity. So maybe it's gay. I don't know. God damn it. The frickin'. There you go. There's another film called The Wave, which looks interesting. And there is this, We Are the Night, which is a vampire film, which I do want to give a watch sometime. It's super long and I don't know, just something about it seems interesting. But um, this director mostly seems to do kind of art house stuff, so he seems like kind of an odd choice for this film. And well, I do think he succeeded. Um, the fact that he has Vic Armstrong, who is a big second unit director for action films, he did quite a few James Bond films and some of the best action scenes in the entire James Bond series. Some of them in Tomorrow Never Dies. I think World Is Not Enough and Goldeneye as well, which are some of the best all and out action movies in the Bond series, for my to my taste. But he seems to really go for a 90s or 80s style action movie here, especially in the plot. The plot is simple. It's mechanic, the Arthur Bishop wants to retire. You see him do his last job at the beginning and he wants to just settle down, and then these 2 people fighting on a boat grab his attention, and then he finds out that one of them is after him. And then a former nemesis, or former ally, who is now a nemesis, wants him to kill 3 people to save this girl that he's fallen in love with. Pretty simple, very classic type of plot. And I think for the most part, he got it down. In the plot, in the execution, I think a lot of the action scenes are both on par and better than the first, because I think the first did suffer at times from it. It was both trying. I th- I think what happened with the first one is that they were trying too hard to make both just a normal action movie and a mechanic film, where they're going through the process of engineering deaths. And in this film, they go a bit deeper into that, which I found more interesting. Yes, there's a lot of shooting near the end, and it does kind of become a normal action movie near the end. But if the guy just died a mechanic death, it would kind of be an anticlimax for a lot of people. People come to Jason Statham movies to see him beat the fuck out of people and shoot them. So, um, I didn't have an issue with that. I will say one thing that this film has improved on is the CG blood, because um, they've gotten a better handle on it, like going onto surfaces and whenever somebody gets shot, bleeding. Like it looks a lot better. It looks a lot more brutal. Um, and it is a bit more plentiful in this film. I would say this film has a bit more action than the first, I think. I'm not an expert, but I did like that this film focused a bit more on the accident related deaths. And one scene in particular where I think the green screen really shines, the CG and the green screen really shines, is the scene that is on the front of the Blu-ray. And I can see why they put it on the front of the Blu-ray, because it's an awesome scene. It is like a 10 out of 10, like, hitman scene, where he takes out one of the people by ending up climbing up a building through like an apartment that he's pretending to try to look at, and he basically this guy has like a pool he's so rich he has a pool hanging over like the streets. I think this is in Sydney. And he basically drills in there, puts like an explosive or something that cracks the glass, and then the guy ends up falling to his death onto the street. It is an awesome scene, and I mean that. And the green screen actually looks really good in this scene. I I mean, most people would understand that you wouldn't put your actual actor in those situations, but it looks very, very, very convincing. And I wish more of the green screen looked that way. Again, it didn't ruin my enjoyment of the movie, but it did take me out of certain small spots. I can understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to one up the first one, because if you do something that's not as magnificent or spectacular as the first film, then it's going to be a letdown to a lot of people. And apparently this film let quite a few people down. On Letterboxd, it has a 2.5 out of 5, which is kind of just mid rating. And the first one has a 2.8 out of 5, which is a bit higher. And the same thing on IMDb. And I know it's just my opinion, but I think this film fixed a lot of the issues of the first. Another thing I forgot to mention about the first film. The score by Mark Isham. Mark Isham did the scores for both these films. For the first one and a little bit of this one, because he goes a bit of a different direction, he still keeps the mechanic theme, that and it kind of reminded me of Spy Kids. And funny thing, it reminds me of Spy Kids. Jessica Alba's in this, and she was in Spy Kids 4, which I haven't seen for obvious reasons. But he seems to go for a bit of a Hitman vibe in the first one. Hitman as in the video games, the reboot Hitman video games. If those took inspiration for the scores from the first film, that would make sense, because it does feel kind of similar, at least to me. And I mean, this film's just such a blast to watch. Like, the first film, again, I don't hate the first film. I like it. It's more so a decent for me, but it goes up to good because of how much I like Jason Statham and Ben Foster working together. Here, it's a one versus 100 type of thing, which again is very 80s and 90s action movie. He's got a love interest that he's trying to save, and well, you've got kind of a you got the British bad guy, which again, that's a big thing from the 80s and 90s. And yeah, it's just entertainment. It's If people watch this movie expecting art house, yeah, of course you're going to hate it. If you watch it expecting a drama, of course you're going to hate it. That's why I hate critics that are like, I don't know what I was expecting when I watched this. If you go into this expecting anything other than action and just entertainment, of course you're going to fucking hate it. What do you mean? Are you an idiot? But yeah, I did thoroughly enjoy this film. I will definitely be giving We Are the Night a look, and Before the Fall maybe. It is 2 hours, and also I'm not really into Nazi dramas. The Wave for sure. But yeah, I remember I got this Blu-ray for $5 new off Amazon, so I guess if it's still there, y'all can pick this up. Got some decent special features, and yeah, overall, I just really enjoyed the film. Uh, that was that was my review of Mechanic Resurrection. If you've seen the film, let me know what you thought in the comments. If you got any recommendations, let me know as well. And movie reviewer next door.